Alright, so I decided I'm going to start taking a log on what's going on with my car. Hyundai has had a lot of issues with this hybrid engine. And they had a recall maybe about 2 years ago in 2022. I had no issues with the car, but I took the car in for a random multi-point inspection, took it in for an oil change, and I figured while I was there, I would have them address the recall notice that I had received. So after they did that, which the recall was based on a sensor, they went in, they took care of this engine sensor. After that, I started having issues with the car. Literally a few months after they did the recall repair, the car literally shut off. All battery parts, electrical died on the freeway in the middle of me driving. And after that, I've just been having nonstop issues with the car. So as you can see, I took it in a month ago. They replaced this radiator hose, which is also, you can see here, that's pretty brand new in there. Now, after that repair, 3 weeks later, the engine starts having issues again. Now, according to Hyundai, they were advising, and that's a new belt, by the way. Okay, that's a new belt, so I just wanted to point that out. According to Hyundai, what was going on with the car at the time is there was an issue. There was an issue with the battery. So according to Hyundai, they changed out parts in the battery. They also advised that they took care of the coolant. So apparently they changed out this coolant, which is interesting because I'm looking at this and it looks dirty. Does it look like anybody has touched this? I literally got my car back last Friday, guys, okay? So I'm just showing you guys what's going on. This engine is still dirty. Okay, you can see this is still dirty. Okay. Looks like somebody checked the oil. They did the oil change. You could tell by the fingerprints and everything. But the engine itself is still dirty. Here is the HEV engine fluid. Okay, it looks like it's been touched. You can see that there. Okay, so they checked obviously these things, and there's a couple of new things that are, built into the car. Mainly that there. All right, and then they also changed the belt because the belt had been making noises. Right now, to date, I've spent over $4,000 in repairs on this car, and it's still having problems. So I'm going to take in the car now so you can see the check engine light is still on, still having problems. And the code, I'll show you the code that's popping up as well. All right, so in the car now. All right, and you see I got the check engine light on, and one of my tires is low on pressure, which is how I received my car back from Hyundai. Prior to that, I wasn't having a low pressure issue on my tire, but hey, it is what it is. I gotta put a tire on the car. The car is shaking. Like literally, the car is shaking. See that? So, as you can see, crazy situation with this car. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a timeline. Okay, so I purchased the car in 2019. Car, I kept it up with oil changes. Every 3 to 6 months, I would make sure that I took it in. Now I do, as disclosure, I did drive like Uber. So that is what kind of made the mileage kind of rack up. And then as of recent, about a year ago, I bought some property up in Tennessee. So I've been up there a couple of times since last year. So to be fair, putting that out there, right? But I bought the car at about 42,000 miles. At 58,000 miles, the car was starting to have like recalls on it. At the time, I had no issues with the car. Okay, car was running fine for me. But took it in for an oil change. You have to take it in for these multi-point inspections to keep the warranties and things of that nature. So I would, being responsible, taking it in for the oil changes and the multi-points, took it in. And then essentially after that appointment, which that was like in 2022, February, literally, because I want to make sure I get all this right. Literally, after I took it in February, it was 3 months later. Okay, or I guess that would be February, March, April, May, June. So 5 months later, okay, I take the car in or have it towed in. This was, or actually, no, I'm sorry. The car was taken in May of 2022. So they basically did the recall repairs on the car in February. And then in May, the car, I was driving it. And then all of a sudden in the car, just everything died in it. Like the engine died, everything died. The car went fully black on the freeway. It was the scariest thing ever. So the car had shut down while I was driving. The battery had been replaced in that car. But the vehicle had no acceleration. So it had a brand new car battery in it at the time. But the vehicle just would not run. Okay. So at the time, basically they replaced the entire engine. Okay. Because this was a part of that warranty that they had due to the recall, is that because the engine technically could catch fire, and as it did, broke down on me, totally blacked out on the freeway. It killed everything from the engine to the battery to just everything in the car. So the engine had to be replaced. And at the time, of course, they just did their regular checks on everything else. So that happened. And at the time, the code was P1326. So I had that code on the car. Hyundai was really hospitable. They, gave me a rental and everything. So they didn't charge me for that. They also replaced the guide chain, the rocker arm assembly. So pretty much a brand new engine was put in the car in 2022. Then fast forward, okay? Fast forward. Let's go ahead and jump into, because, again, I made sure that I kept up on all repairs. I keep all receipts on my car. Like, I'm really responsible when it comes to that type of stuff. So, took it in 2023 because it was like the check engine light kept flashing off and on. And at this point, the car, I put some good mileage on it. It was at 140,000. So engine was replaced at 60,000 or almost 60,000 miles. So basically I put about a good, I guess that's a good about 80,000 miles on the car, right? Because I'm driving Uber going back and forth to Tennessee. So took it in, everything was good. The code was intermittent on the engine. So they said there wasn't much they could do unless the code was visible. So now fast forward to 2024, check engine light came on. Engine was overheating, radiator hose had just popped off the car. So obviously the car's in some type of distress. So this was at 149,000 miles. Took it in. And they said, oh, it's just the radiator hose. Even though another mechanic said, okay, it's the radiator hose, but there's something else going on with this car because there's a bunch of different lights popping up on this car, a bunch of engine codes. So literally paid $800 for that repair for a radiator hose. And they swore there's nothing else wrong with the car. I got the car back and it was making a squeaky noise. And the guy was like, oh, don't worry about that. That's normal. It'll go away. It's just dust on the belt. Okay. Literally a week later, I took the car, went to Tennessee. When I was in Tennessee, check engine light popped on. Then it went off. I said, oh, okay. Intermittent problem again. Got back from Tennessee. Literally the next day I tried to turn on the car, wouldn't come on. So I had to take the car back again. Okay, after only 3 weeks of having the car after that radiator hose repair. And now, all kind of stuff going on with the car. So now they're like, oh, your assembly generator for your battery has failed, and your airflow meter duct system, and that needs to be replaced. And they replaced the belt on the car, which probably was an issue prior when that radiator hose had popped because the belt was making noises, obvious. But Hyundai just failed to diagnose it properly. So anyway, long story short, spent a whopping $3,300 in repair costs for all of those parts. Spark plug replacements, fuel injection service, just did the works. I figured, hey, the car had some mileage on it. Let's make sure everything's good in this car. Now, the next day, check engine light comes right back on. And Hyundai, they're a little slow out here where I live in Georgia. So now they can't see the car until this coming Wednesday. But I will let you know what they say because I took it to AutoZone. I wanted to see what codes are coming up on this engine because obviously there's something going on with this engine that caused the radiator hose to pop. It's causing all these other issues with the car. Okay, and it's like a repeat of 2022. Only worse. So now, look at that. A powertrain system issue. Okay, got this code P0420 popping up for a Cadillac converter. All right. When my engine was replaced, okay, when Hyundai replaced my engine, at the time the recall extended your warranty on your engine. Your warranty was extended for another 150,000 miles or up to 15 years. Now, my car is barely over. It's barely over at this point, this $150,000 or 150,000 mark. And the car, again, has engine issues. It was a brand new engine placed in this car in 2022. Again, I've added, maybe a good 80, 90,000 miles to the car and now having engine issues again. So it's obviously this engine in Hyundai's vehicle, there's something wrong with it. There's some type of defect because once you get close to, 100,000 miles, it fails and it causes other things. To be aware of kind of what I'm going through with my car. So if anybody else out there is having issues with, I think the years or the 2015 through the 2020 Hyundai Sonata, and there's some other models like the hybrid, of course, is what I have. But there are some other models of Kia as well that have the same engine, same powertrain type of issues. So just wanting to let everybody be aware that there is a class action lawsuit. You have until June 8th of 2024 to, file your claim for this class action lawsuit. But I am having a lot of issues with this car since the sensor replacement at about, 58,000 miles is when they replaced that sensor. And ever since then, it's been check engine light, intermittent issues with that. Like I told you, the whole blowout with my car on the freeway where it went completely black, blowing out my battery. And now at, 140,000 miles, I guess, is when I started having more issues. And now just failure after failure with the powertrain and the engine. So from somebody who, again, is a responsible person who takes care of their car. Because, again, I'm always taking my car in for oil changes and stuff because I am a driver. And I know that the more you maintain your car, the better off you are, right? But again, just I hope they get it together. I hope they do the right thing because, between this, the anti-theft issue, like, I don't know, you guys probably know about that. Like, insurance for these Hyundai Sonatas has been insane. I've even had insurance carriers completely cancel my insurance because of the fact that they just don't want to cover these Hyundai Sonatas. They're that problematic. But, Godspeed to everyone. I'll keep you posted after my Wednesday appointment this week on what they're trying to say is going on with this car. But again, I just got it out the shop last week. And now, yet again, my check engine light just is on the car the day after the repair. So, hey.